My name is John Callahan. I'm a retired FAA employee. I was the division manager for the Accidents Evaluation and Investigation Division in DC. About 2 years before I retired, I received a call from Alaska region where the region wanted to know what to tell the media. When I questioned, tell the media what, he says about the UFO. Now, I've told this story many times, and I get sometimes funny looks from people. I have with me the voice tapes of the controllers that were involved, the FAA original tapes. See, after we handed this stuff off to the president's staff, the FAA didn't know what to do with it. We don't separate UFOs from real traffic, so it's not our problem. Okay? I have a copy of the original of the video that we took.
Good morning. My name is Dwayne Arneson. I served 26 years as a communication electronics officer in the U.S. Air Force, all over the world, including Vietnam. I was lucky to be selected to be commander of 3 different units in the Air Force. I held a top secret SCI TK clearance, and for those who don't know, it is slightly above top secret, is that a UFO was seen near the missile silos and the missiles were deactivated.
Good morning. My name is Carl Wolf, and I was a precision electronics photographic repairman in top secret crypto clearance in the United States Air Force. I was stationed at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. By the way, we discovered a base on the backside of the room. And then he proceeded to put photographs down in front of me, and clearly in these photographs were structures, mushroom-shaped buildings, spherical buildings, and towers.
My name is George Filer III. I'm a retired intelligence officer and flyer with almost 5,000 hours. Senior Master Sergeant in charge said that there had been UFOs in the pattern all night. They're on radar. The tower had seen them. They got in aircraft reports and so on. And that one had landed or crashed at Fort Dix. Fort Dix and McGuire are right together. And this is kind of like the Roswell of the East. But in any case, an alien had come off the crash and had been shot by a military policeman, and apparently was wounded and was heading for McGuire.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clifford Stone. I was a Sergeant First Class United States Army. I had a secret clearance with nuclear surety. What I'm referring to here is that I was involved in situations where we actually did recoveries of crashed saucers, for lack of a better term, debris thereof. There were bodies that were involved with some of these crashes, also some were alive.
My name is Mark McCandlish, and for the last 21 years, I have worked as a conceptual artist for a variety of defense contractors. In 1988, in November, a college buddy of mine, an associate by the name of Brad Sorensen, informed me that he had personally witnessed 3 flying saucers at a very large hangar at Norton Air Force Base during the course of an air show that was held on Saturday, November 12, 1988. These discs were hovering off the floor without any visible means of support. They were referred to as alien reproduction vehicles, also nicknamed the flux line because they used high voltage electricity.
And we have to prevent the weaponization of space because there is a lie being slid in another enemy. Only this time we're going to protect our satellites. In other words, we have to have some reason to spend these trillions to waste these dollars on a space-based weapon system, and they're all lies.
Ms. Rosen, who you just saw, was the spokesperson for Werner von Braun, who invented the first rocket for Germany in World War II, and then became foundational for our aerospace programs, as you know, under Operation Paperclip. They were key German genius level engineers and scientists were brought in the United States rather than being executed. Werner von Braun was one. So she became his confidant the last 5 years of his life, and he warned that they would and have imposed a threat.
Chinese government with its own Air Force, its own Navy, its own fundraising mechanism, and the ability to pursue its own ideas of the national interest, free from all checks and balances, and free from the law itself.
Crash. And they had archives brought in, and this is the dissection of an ET on a slab from the 1920s. It's been dated to the 1920s. This is one of the pictures in the briefing document for the president. I don't often show it. It's a big gruesome. There's a towel over the head. The archive is filled with this information. And they came from a woman whose grandmother was at the Trinity program and made the atomic bomb program, and they got moved to Roswell. That was the only atomic bomb in the world when that craft crashed in the Roswell area in the 1940s. So that when she died, her granddaughter was going through some old books in the attic, and this photo fell out. And apparently there was someone who gave her the photo from the photo lab there in Roswell in the 40s. This is a Norton Grumman or Raytheon device. It's a electrogravitic anti-gravity. You'll see a sphere intercepted by a Hellfire missile. Now, this event was friendly fire. It was not an extraterrestrial device. That sphere was us. Now, the operators, here is a real problem. Not with alien vehicles, but with clandestine, covertly made and funded, black budget aircraft made by our aerospace giants, but off book, without the knowledge of Congress or the president. In contradistinction, this is an actual extraterrestrial sphere, unlike the other one, it's man-made. And this is in Buga, Colombia. You're going to hear a lot about this towards the end of our press conference. It's very important. It is in Buga, Colombia. This is what Jaime Mason now has possession of. This object came in and it landed. It got too close to a power line and shorted out, and it's in our possession, his possession. And we have been doing the studies on it, but that is an extraterrestrial technology. It's the first time in history that one has landed and been acquired and then not subsequently been grabbed by a SWAT team of some type. So this is a huge historic opportunity, and it is real. Even though most people on the internet can't believe it, it is. All I'm going to say is that one of the most senior people in national security for prior administration, and I met extensively for about 3 hours last year. He has the audio, the video of some files from Epstein Island of key people in our intelligence and national security system. When key, I mean very senior, that are compromised and are being actively blackmailed to slow down the disclosure. I'm going to say that. I'm going to let that sit. I will say to the Department of Justice, if you want to inquire into this and pursue it, because we're talking blackmailing officials at the highest level that is interfering with the function of government. So that is what Epstein Island was. It was a honeypot set up by the intelligence community to entrap certain high-value targets and then control them through that process of blackmail. This happens all the time. Everyone knows J. Edgar Hoover had huge files on everyone, every mistress for every president. That's how he stayed in office. But this is serious. This is something that can really affect the truth of what gets to the president and Congress, or whether things are allowed to come out. So this is something that has to get nipped in the bud. I won't say who the officials are who are compromised, where I got the information, or who's doing the blackmailing, but I know the two senior former government officials doing the blackmailing. I know both of them. So I just want to quick, this has been in the media in the last month a great deal. General McCaslin, there you go. He was a Wright-Patterson Air Force Base general that dealt with a lot of very dark projects related to this. He is missing. The guys I've worked with who are senior military operators in various walks of life, and I feel that, and I can't prove this, that the noose was getting close. In this case, I think General McCaslin, in all likelihood, vanished himself as opposed to being taken. Now, there are scientists missing. Amy Estridge, for example, had worked on and developed an electrogravitic, anti-gravity, if you will, type system. So General McCaslin, though, was very much involved in some dark projects. We know he was the man who intercepted this rock star that I had briefed when he was a young kid named Tom DeLong and handed him off to Luis Elizondo, where he was then chewed up and spindled and mutilated and spit out. And McCaslin has been an operative on this for a long time, so I think he may have just vanished himself. Okay, now I can't prove it, but that's our working theory is at this point and where he is. The top tier ones, Dugway, Edwards, Wright Pat, not Nellis Air Force Base per se, but the Northern Nevada test area. Area 51 is not particularly relevant, by the way. It's an old site, and the real action's moved up to Area 54, 53, some in 52. Those are grids on a map. So I would suggest if you really want to know where these assets are and where the underground bases are, you go through that. Now, we have been able to map down to the entry points of many of these places, both at the Dugway Proving Grounds in Utah, Edwards Complex, the Lockheed Skunk Works, Northrop Grumman Test Range, the facilities out at Tonopah and going up to Groom Lake and Boot Mesa. We know where those places are, we know where the assets are, and most of them are underground, and they're very large underground facilities. I'm told the one that's in the Utah complex associated with Dugway is about 1,300 square miles under the earth. That big, huge, massive. And it's been built by contractors like Bechtel Corporation using a nuclear-powered tunneling device. And we have the schematic for that device that's in our archive that was developed in the 1960s. So when they started building these vast underground complexes, that's what they used. It was a nuclear-powered tunneling device. These assets include recovered extraterrestrial vehicles, man-made UFOs, and related technologies, extraterrestrial biological entities, even or living ETs that are captive and still living. We have people who know where those are, and man-made alien-appearing bodies and robots that are used in false flag operations, such as abductions. Almost all the mythology about the UFO subject is a psychological warfare operation that is run mainly out of the PSYOPs division of the CIA. An executive order is needed to immediately cease the targeting and downing of NHI craft and any other acts of hostility towards them. An international agreement removing and banning all weapons from space and the use of advanced reverse engineered technologies as weapons should be negotiated with enforcement capabilities in place globally. Why do I say this? Because Oconus, outside continental United States, is where a great many of our assets are that are being run by a sort of a global covert group, and you have to stand them down globally. It's not enough to stand them down just in the continental United States, right? So the organization running these secret programs, think of it as a global hybrid corporate governmental entity that operates with alacrity regardless of your geopolitical borders between Canada, US, Russia, China, whatever. And this is why these objects are seen in Russia and China that are man-made ones. And it is a big problem. So when I've met with people who are tactical operators at a very high level, the big discussion is how do you get that under control? And get it under control so that we can have a peaceful world, but also make peaceful outreach to these visitors who mean us no harm. They're here to help and understand us and contain us if we go too far crazy, right? And I'm talking about using technologies that we have way beyond the thermonuclear weapon level that we have and have been using against them. So the aggressors here, ironically, are the humans. Forget all the Hollywood movies and the UFO mythologies. If they were aggressive, we'd be gone.